Hey guys, welcome to the actual official A.M.G Jagged Alliance CrossFire guide. I'm very happy that you guys decided to donate and help me out to keep this going. Of course, this is my second guide in the series, and I've substantially learned quite a lot from the first guide. So this guide has had quite a few tweaks that aren't available in the back in action one. And I did make it a little bit more efficient in ways of finding all the stats that you need. Of course, for those of you who had my back in action guide, you sort of have an idea of already what to expect. And for those of you who don't, I'll be covering, of course, the basics as always. So the first thing what you do is when you do open up either the PDF version or the actual online version, you will see the video section, this being this that you see in front of you. Okay, of course, on the PDF version, you'll have the top left side will be linked to the actual online version. So if you click that and you have a Gmail account or any other account, you can request permission. And once it's rechecked with the purchase, you will get access to your actual online version. Now, the first screen, as mentioned before, is the video tab, that being on the online or the PDF. I'm not going to be repeating that always because literally it's the same for the online or the PDF. So, of course, when you click any of these, it'll open up the actual links and tabs that you require. It'll, of course, direct you to my YouTube channel, and there it'll explain to you what exactly you're interested in. Now, you have, of course, the starter pack, the walkthroughs, all the walkthroughs necessary. Keep in mind that the ring and the scepter walkthroughs do have a slight little bug in them. They sometimes don't appear in the sectors that I have mentioned before. Yes, they are only in the sectors that I mentioned, but sometimes they don't appear there. If by some fluke and chance that I have got it mistaken, and they do appear somewhere not in the locations that I've placed, that could be either because the code has changed, because I actually get the locations from the source file, and if that does happen, do let me know and I'll update it. And if it does update, you just see that the videos have been updated in the online version, since I can't always resend you guys the offline version. Anyways, you have the tutorial pack. Finally, the tutorial pack, the title has been actually linked to the tutorial playlist on the YouTube channel, which probably holds, if not all, then most of the main things that you'll need in terms of back in action or CrossFire. Yeah, of course, a couple of quick links here for the main and important things that I do recommend you to watch. There's no expansions in DLC so far, and you have, of course, the sound and music files if you'd like to listen to either the mercs or the game itself. Now, a couple of interviews. I have one interview with Michael, the developer from BitComposer. Of course, I'm hopefully planning to make another one sooner. And then you have the mod section and a couple of mailbox questions itself. So this is the first tab for the actual walkthrough. For the guide. And let's go to the bottom. We have the A.I.M Mercenary tab. Of course, this is again available in your PDF. Now, the A.I.M Mercenary tab has, as you see, been slightly tweaked up. I did use the same method and methodology from its actual back in action. Sorry. But what I have put is actually included the equipment and the hiring price. What is this? Keep the current color scheme, but okay, now what I have put is the actual price of the mercenary is not the actual price of the mercenary that you have. For example, the price of Barry might be 8,000, the equipment is 4, so your price in total will be 12. I realize this is really stupid just to put the price of the mercenary, because sometimes when you just put the price of the mercenary, you don't really see the end price. It means you have somebody for 40,000 and then you want to hire him, he'll end up for 70,000. So because of the equipment and all the stuff. So what I did is I included all that in, because of course when you hire Merc, you don't really have a choice if you want the equipment or not. So that's there whether you like it or not. Now, the hiring reputation is what you require to hire the mercenaries. Some mercenaries you can't hire from the beginning, that being 20, 10%, 20, 10%. Now, exactly what this means is you need to liberate 20% of the country to be able to hire Barry. How to know if you liberate 20% of the country? It's very simple. You save the game, and when you save the game and you look at the actual game save, it says liberated whatever, 20% or 10% or 50% or 80%, and that's the requirement so you can actually hire these mercenaries. So that's why you sometimes can't hire these mercenaries. Of course, you do have the stats, the prices, the traits beside each single one. And I did sort of make the skills a little bit easier. I capsized the ones that actually he has the maximum requirement for the maximum item required. So if you have the medical, it means you know that this person is going to have the required medical for the large medikit, which is Cliff. So you know Cliff obviously has the highest medical, which is 85. You only need 80 for the large medikit. So there you go. So that's pretty much it in terms of the A.I.M mercenaries. Of course, this is very good because you can compare. You can see and compare who exactly you want and what traits you want in terms of the mercenary. Now, it becomes a little more harder if you're actually trying to search for somebody in terms of skills, but we'll get to that because that's a new tab that I've created for that. Now, the next tab is mercenary likes and dislikes. Now, this is one of the most important part, or I believe one of the most important things, because I do like to build my team on likes and dislikes. I like to concentrate on likes and dislikes. Yes, I know the factor might not be so great. For example, yeah, for the new guys, don't always think on building mercenaries and hiring any mercenary just for the hell of it is a good thing. All the mercenaries have relationships between each other, and if they don't like each other, they of course perform less. It does have an impact on their overall stats. I do believe it gives them like a 15% boost. I'm not sure if on all stats or just on marksmanship and shooting, but it does have quite a high effect. You know, it's been tested and trained out, but you might sometimes see that not such a large effect it does have. But I like to play based on my morale to keep it high. So if you play with mercenaries that like each other, their morale is very good. If their morale is very good, it means they play better. Now, as you see here are the names of all the mercenaries and who they like, who they dislike, who they hate, and who are the team players. Now, for team players, if the mercenaries are all team players in the team, their morale of course goes up by 1. If the mercenary is a night ops and it's nighttime, which I do believe is between 8 at night till 6 in the morning game time, then of course his morale increases by 1. If the mercenary is a loner, if he's alone in the team, his morale increases by 1. So that's pretty much it in terms of all these actual stats. Now, another good thing to keep in mind is to try to make the mercenaries like each other, as I said before. So don't always concentrate on just hiring any single person, any single mercenary you want. Of course, you try to hire the merc that they do like. What I have sort of did is on my hard, I did hire Biff, who's likes Larry and Flo, and of course I hired Flo. It means their morale in general is very good, which means they have improved in their actual relationships, and of course the actual performance of the mercenary is better. It's one of the key things that I like to focus on, so this is a very good tablet to always look at when you're hiring mercenaries, is try to make sure they do like each other, and if not, try to at least make sure that they're neutral among each other, and then you can always hire some mercs that benefit some mercs in morale, and you can hire other mercs that benefit other. As far as I'm concerned in terms of morale, on the previous guides, it's been presumed that you have excited morale. I have tried everything to get the excited morale. So far as what I could tell, excited doesn't exist. The highest you can go is a very good morale. You know, so that's as far as I'm concerned. Now, you have the next tab is Mercenary Skills. This is a new tab so far, and I decided to make this because I did find it a little bit hard to search for mercenaries in terms of just their skills. So I did really want to get everything in so I can absorb just the skills. So in the beginning, of course, I do have the hiring reputation, so I know which guy I can hire from the beginning. So of course, if I'm looking for hiring in the beginning of the game, I know I can go directly to the Mercenary Skills tab, and I can check which one of these guys I can hire from the beginning by looking at the 0. And then of course I look at the Specialist. The Specialist in red means he has the maximum required for that specific skill. You know, so for example, Mechanical, I know this guy can use the Toolkit. You know, I know this guy can use the actual Medikit, you know, which is Dr. Q. So this is in a way very good because you can see exactly which type of mercenary you want to hire either from the beginning or later on in terms of just their skill set. So this is all the stuff they can use. You know, I did make this because later on I did sort of find it annoying that I can't see everything that I need to see, including their likes and dislikes as well. So this is really excellent in terms of either in the beginning or later on when you are trying to compile your actual team of how exactly you'd want which team. You know, usually you start off with a mechanical guy and a medical guy. This is the best start. Always start off with a mechanical specialist and a medical specialist. Of course, that's not always viable. You'll find out because they probably not like each other, or you can't get them in the beginning of the game, or it's just not feasible. It's really difficult to start off with a mechanical guy and a medical guy, especially in Crossfire. In back in action, it's a completely different story. It's a much easier game, but Crossfire has been really made more challenging in terms of relationships, in terms of stats, in terms of traits. It's very hard to get all the traits and everything you want, and all the specific traits that you're looking for with the mercenaries that you need, with the actual composition of the team that you need, because they really did go through it all properly this time, and they did make it really difficult to get that perfect team composition. So, but it is a challenge, of course. Here you do see what you need. So it's really useful. So for example, I'm later on in the game, and I do have Grizzly already, and Grizzly I know he likes Bull and Shadow, so I will most probably look for somebody that also like probably Bull and Shadow as well. So I'd probably look for someone as well, that being Bull or Shadow. So Bull being here, and he likes nails, so I'd probably take up a Bull as well. So this is pretty much it. What I will of course be adding as well is their actual traits. Like that I can see exactly which type of trait each mercenary is, and in accordance to that of course I can pick the second mercenary. So this is literally all in one tab. It's sort of a mini composition of everything to be able to help you to go through the specializations and skills that you need, and the traits as well. Now, talking about the traits, we have the traits tab. Here of course you do have whenever it decides to load up. Now, the traits finally did load up, so of course we do have the usual traits. Of course, each trait gives you an advantage in a specific skill. So it's always important to try to specialize your mercenaries and use the trait that they have. For example, a guy with a shotgun trait, you're going to obviously give him a shotgun. It means he shoots faster with a shotgun, he's going to be better with a shotgun. Same thing for explosives, same thing for gunslinger. Low penalty when shooting weapons from the hip and then running stance, plus 50% accuracy in run stance. So you have all these benefits from all these traits, so it's always a good idea to check your mercenary, and in accordance to their trait, you actually use them. You use them to their best advantage. If you know a mercenary is good at shooting weapons, you're going to shoot using that specific weapon. If you know a mercenary is good at using a specific skill, you use that specific skill. Now, in general, the team composition, which we're going to get to as well later, but it is linked to this in a way, is, as I mentioned before, the best start would be to have a medical guy and a repair guy directly off the bat. So in accordance to that, of course, you then obviously don't look at the actual skill anymore as medical and stuff, but you also do look at the trait. For example, I do need one guy that's medical. Usually the medical guy sucks in shooting, but then you get another guy who is an assault rifle, assault rifle trait or assault rifle expert. Then you obviously use the assault rifle as the main tank, and the medical guy will just heal. Now, some traits do of course benefit the morale. The traits that benefit the morale are of course Amazon. You see here the morale is increased by 1, and you have various traits. Loner, of course, if he's alone it increases by 1. A new trait I did see, where was that, there was a new trait that came up, as well as Bargainer. Bargainer, this trait is very weird. It says able to bargain with local dealers. The funny thing is, when I trade with the local dealers with the Bargainer, I don't get a discount. The only way the Bargainer actually affects me now, it might be fixed later on, is that when I complete the quest, I get more money from the quest. I get a percentage increase from the actual quest. So instead of 60,000, I get, I don't know, 65 or 70. So if you're completing quests currently, always use the guy with the Bargainer trait. But otherwise, with dealing with local dealers or traders, it doesn't really do anything. It's probably a bug and will be fixed later on, but this is a good thing to know. And here it is, likes to keep a distance. This is pretty nice. When the health is full, your morale increases by 1. So there are of course various traits that do increase your actual morale as well. So you don't always need a pair of mercenaries to increase that morale. Some mercs alone can increase their morale depending on their trait as well. So it's pretty good to know that as well. Now, for the weapons and ammo tab, we have, of course, it's the same. The stats over here didn't change at all in terms of the weapons and ammo. This is, I think, one of the only stats, including the consumables, that didn't really change. Otherwise, everything else in Crossfire has changed. That including all the stats, all the numbers, majority of traits have been increased, and a lot of things have changed, except the weapons. The weapons overall outlook doesn't, of course, change. Now, when you look at the weapons, it's good to know that you have different stances. Of course, you have prone, crouch, run, and stand. Again, I'm saying all this for all the new people to the guide. Now, different stances, of course, shoot the weapon differently. Some of them shoot the weapon faster, some of them shoot the weapon slower. But keep in mind, shooting the weapon faster doesn't always mean it's accurate. So, for example, if I shoot with a sniper prone, it means lying down. I'm going to have an accuracy when I move my mouse onto the actual enemy as, I don't know, a very good chance to hit. To get a better idea of how this works, take a look at my attachments tutorial. That sort of will help you out exactly on how this works. Now, when I stand up, or when I crouch, instead of lying down, I crouch, I'll have an accuracy of very poor with my sniper. But the same doesn't apply with my actual shotgun. Yes, when I crouch with my sniper, instead of taking it, 5 seconds to aim to fire, it'll take it 3 seconds to aim to fire. But again, the accuracy is substantially much lower. Now with the shotgun it's different. When I prone, the accuracy might be a little bit more, but the time will be higher. Yeah. But when I crouch, the accuracy will probably stay the same with the shotgun, if not improve, and the time will reduce substantially. So these are the numbers that you do get with the various types of guns with the different stances. Now, of course, this is the base minimum line. It doesn't mean that it can go even below. Now, you can, of course, reduce these numbers by using the holographic reflex sight and the other attachment as well. You have, of course, the holographic reflex and the reflex sight. So you have two attachments that do reduce the actual time to aim in general with all the stances. So you can still furthermore reduce these times as well. So that's pretty much it. You can obviously find the weapon that you're interested in. You can find what type of weapon it is, and then in accordance you can get that mercenary with that trait to be able to use that weapon even more effectively and reduce the time even more in regards to his trait as well. You of course have the price, the range, the damage it makes, and of course the piercing rate with the ammo type with the piercing rate I have put on the side as well. Now later on you'll realize that it doesn't matter when you have a good gun with a high range. It doesn't mean it's the best, especially when you get later on to the levels. You realize that even though you have a lot of guns with a lot of high range, they don't do a lot of damage. That's because of the caliber it uses. It's always good then to later on prioritize the caliber that pierces the armor and does the most damage with armor piercing rounds as well. So I usually stick to either the 5.7 millimeters. They are really the best in armor piercing when it comes down to shooting, or the 7.62 NATO rounds. So this is my priority, or you can say I prefer to use these rounds later on. You know, 4.7s, they are nice, but unfortunately the weapons that shoot them don't really give you such a high range using the 4.7 millimeter rounds. Of course, the 50 caliber, that's usually the sniper round, and this thing is a beast. This thing literally tears through the enemy. Usually it's a one hit, one kill. If not, it's a one hit, substantially heavy damage. So that's pretty much for the weapons. You look at the weapon you look for, you see what's the best stance to shoot at the quickest. Again, the quickest doesn't mean the most accurate, you know, and this is literally it. You have the RPM. Now, also what I'd like to add in terms of using these weapons, there are, of course, I've been having a conversation with one of my actual subscribers on my channel, which is the best close-up weapon. We were having a discussion, either the famous or the striker, and of course we did realize that a lot of these like guns are very good at close range. You know, we did sort of where was it? I'm going to take a look at it. Here we have the famous rifle, and that is 750, and we did have the striker, I do believe, as well. And we were discussing like different variations of close range combat weapons. And of course, the striker, yes, it might be superior in close range, but again, it doesn't have that damage because it does use the standard buckshots, you know, the shotgun shots. So keep in mind that when you're using close-up weapons, try to use the one with the highest RPM. Try to use the one with the superior ammo type to make armor-piercing rounds as well. So try to keep all these factors in, either if it's for close or for medium range or for long-range weapons. You know, you'll really notice that you can't really get the best of both worlds, and the rare guns that do drop that actually provide that stat are very difficult to either supply the ammo for it and even find it. So this is pretty much for the weapons and ammo. Now, for the best snipers, this is pretty interesting because in Crossfire they have tweaked it in a way to make it more and more difficult to actually know what merc is the best. So it is pretty funny. Now we do have, of course, the standard layout. You have the dexterity, marksmanship, and the level of the mercenary. Sniper when he starts off, and sniper at level 10. Now, of course, I presumed every time he levels up, you'll put all the points into dexterity and marksmanship first, and then dexterity. Now this is based on that, of course. You have literally five top snipers, that being Raven, Lynx, Shadow, Scope, and Larry. Out of which I did prioritize the one with the most leftover skills. Though this isn't the right way, I'll actually change it now, because technically I should prioritize the one with the sniper rifle expert, because we are going for the one with the highest. So literally, we will prioritize Lynx as first because he does have the most leftover skills, followed by Shadow as second because he is the second leftover with that as well. So, and then finally we do have Scope. So hold on, let's do it this way. And as you see, I am continuously updating the stuff. So technically speaking, Lynx is the best sniper in the game with the Shadow. They are on par. Okay, these three actually, you have Scope, Shadow, and Lynx are on par. The only advantage is that Lynx obviously has 7 additional points that you can stick into other skills once you max out the Dexterity and Marksmanship, and the same applies to Shadow and Scope. So, literally, these 3 snipers are the same. Of course, Lynx has a little few more extra leftover skill points that you can give. And the rest, yes, they might be maxed out on Dexterity and Marksmanship, but unfortunately they don't have the Sniper trait. And if you don't have the Sniper trait, of course, you aren't as accurate and as quick as shooting with the snipers. So, if you want to use anybody else for snipers, you could use from Cougar all the way to, I do believe, Buns, even though Buns is not really, should have nothing to do with the sniper. And even though the majority of them should have nothing to do with the sniper, especially Buns, because she's a really low level person, but you can actually max out her stats, which is pretty funny. But it doesn't mean she's the best. Gun-wise, you could really stick any gun into her hand, not even sniper-wise in a way. That's more of a trooper in a way, but this is just gun-wise, so it's not really even a trooper in terms of being able to arm any weapon and having the highest stat in it is a good thing for Buns, but unfortunately, or is a good thing for Sydney, but unfortunately that doesn't apply to the sniper, which we are really interested in here is just the sniper trait. So you do have the top 3, that being Lynx, Shadow, and Scope. Literally, these are the top 3 since they are the expert in sniper rifles, followed by Raven and Larry. Raven is just a sniper rifle, so it's been downgraded, as you noticed, in comparison to Back in Action, and Larry as well. So that's pretty much it in terms of the sniper rifle. These are the 3 you should probably be aiming for if you just want to go for the perfect sniper. And that's really about it. You know, you have a couple of extra leftover points, which I did arrange it in that sense. And this really gives you all the stats that you do require or need to know in terms of their actual points in starting up. I did put the end marks because the end marks is the most important thing. I'm not really sure if the end marks is such a high priority in Crossfire because the map is so small that it's really difficult to level them up. But it is sort of possible to level them up if you do concentrate on using that mercenary. I did manage to get a few in my Let's Play to level up to 10. You can obviously watch my Let's Play as well. Now, for the Mercenary Potentials, this is exactly how potential your mercenary is in general. It means, in general, how much can you juice out of him? How many points can you juice out of him? Now, ironically enough, you can juice out of Red the most points. Now, what I did here is, of course, I added all the skills, that being Agility, Dexterity, Strength, Wisdom, and Perception. Okay? And that gives you a stat total, and then I did the skill total. I added up all their skills, and then I added up both of these, and then I counted the remaining of the points. It means in total, how many points, skill points, does that mercenary have? Literally, the potential of your mercenary is really reliant on how many points you can throw into him, how many skill points he has, and how many points you give him. So literally, Red has 812 skill points, and skills and stat points in total. She has 812 points in total in general. So literally Red has the highest potential because she has the highest amount of points in her actual character, followed by Magic, Stefan, and Gus. Now, this gives you a general idea of which is the best mercenary to have, which is the best mercenary with the most points, and the most points you can distribute into him. So this is very good to know in terms of seeing how good your mercenary is. Even though if you're starting off the game, you can always take a look at this map, and you can always compare, let's say, if you're having, I don't know, if you're having a discussion between your beginning mercenaries, I don't know, for example, I don't know, Flo and Steroid. Okay, so you take a look at Flo where she is. She's on the 45th mark, and Steroid where he is. Steroid. I'll find him. Steroid is on the 43rd mark. As you see, Steroid is only 2 points ahead, two like positions ahead. His total mark at 10 is 561, and Flo is 550. So I know Steroid has an advantage of 11 additional points. That being on anything, either his skills or his attributes, anything. I know Steroid has an advantage of 11 points. So in a way, I can't juice Steroid up more because he has those extra 11 points. So it does make him, in a way, higher potential than Flo because he does have, of course, higher potential. So this literally just gives you a general idea of what I'm trying to achieve here, and so you do understand what exactly it's tabs for. And then you have the best troopers. Best troopers, of course, is based on how good a trooper the guy is. That means if he's tough, if he can handle a good fight, if he's good in handguns and machine guns, in assault rifles, you know, just really a good trooper. Now, of course, this is based on a little equation I had to do. It's a little complex equation. It does take and adds bonuses and benefits and consumes or calculates this in a sort of pretty interesting way. Of course, Gus turns out with the highest trooper point of 710, followed by Scully, Magic, and Reaper, Cougar, and Shadow. Now, if you want to, if you're looking for a mercenary that is sort of good in everything in a sort of a way, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for a trooper. You're looking for a mercenary that can sort of handle himself and deal a bit of a punch, and sort of be useful in sort of everything. He's like the middle guy. You know, you always have to have a bunch of middle guys that sort of do a little bit of everything and are good, like good grunt work. That's exactly what it is. So this sort of gives you a good general idea of which is the sort of good grunt work mercenary that's sort of in there and does sort of a bit of everything. You know, comes in handy, especially in fights. You know, so not the perfect guy, but he's good in fighting, good in maintaining that fight, good in suppression fire. You know, good as backup, maybe even sort of a tank. You know, so this is exactly what the best troopers sort of stands for. Of course, the equation is a little bit complex, but long story short, this is the trooper mark, and this is what you're looking for. Again, remember, this is completely different than in Back in Action. They did make it substantially complex, as you noticed in the Mercenary Potentials and Snipers. They did tweak it around a bit, so it is a little bit more harder. Of course, I added the new sector as well, that being the sector income. You do have the locations and how much money they make. So you could obviously prioritize by taking over the sectors in terms of how much cash are you going to be generating for that sector itself, and you have the tips and hints. I did add, I do believe, an additional tip which I did sort of bump into later on. I did figure out to be pretty useful. That is pretty similar to the Back in Action. Consumables are exactly the same. If you do want to use your consumables the most effective way, or hold your consumables and carry your consumables in the most effective way, because again, they are heavy. They are going to increase your load, so try to get the consumables with the most energy to weight ratio, and I did put that for single items and then for full stack items. So the Hunko power bars are the most effective for full stack items. When you have full stack in them, they do give you the most energy per weight wise. So this is the most effective way to run around with these. You might ask, why the hell would you care? Well, in the beginning your mercs really suck, so you don't have a lot of strength, so you can't carry a lot of weight, and you do want to carry as much other equipment as possible, so it does become a sort of value. So when I do see any of these top single or top full stack items, I obviously prioritize them over anything else. So this is again to play it as most effectively as possible, as I do. Majority of you don't really care in terms of consumables and how you carry them, but in the beginning and later on, when you have a lot of stuff that you want to carry with you as much as possible, it does come pretty main factor, because when you do travel, your stamina reduces, and you do need to carry consumables with you to keep that stamina going, to keep you being able to run. Now, tools and kit and medical items tab, of course, shows you all the requirements for all the different tabs you have, that being large, medikit, small. Toolkits, repairing items, shows you how much they cost, how many charges, how many times you can use each item, and what are the requirements and efficiency, and how much they actually repair, use, or consume when you use that item itself. Now, the starting teams, as mentioned, here's a little bit difficult. I did manage to break down the hard team pretty easily, and the normal team I did leave it a little bit empty. It's really depending on to you, because really when I was looking at the normal set layout, if I'd go to Mercenary Skills tab, the normal set layout is pretty difficult, because in a way, again, you're looking for somebody with a medical and mechanical skill. So you're going to look for somebody with a medical and mechanical skill that you can hire only in the beginning, meaning with 0, okay? And preferably having one guy specialist in medical, one guy specialist in mechanical, and of course, furthermore, try to find that with the factor that they actually like each other, which, sorry, we all have, or in the mercenary. So you got to find somebody with a 0 hiring reputation, with a medical specialist and a mechanical specialist, another guy, and of course that they like each other. The most, of course, you could say the most effective or most required and desired outcome would be to have this composition, okay, for your normal, because you have enough money to do that. So you need somebody who's a mechanical specialist and one guy who's a medical specialist, and of course the most lovely outcome would be if they like each other. That's not happening. Okay, I did dig around. It's pretty complex. I do believe I managed to maybe make a composition of Spider and Steroid, because Spider has the medical specialist and Steroid has the mechanical specialist. So that's pretty it, but they don't like each other. So this is the thing, your morale is still good. But then again, then I could get either Vicky or Static to increase Spider's morale, and for Steroid, I can't get anybody because nobody really increases Steroid's morale. Only women, because he has Macho. So Macho, if I throw in a chick, that'll increase his morale itself. So literally, Steroid's morale will go up, but Spider's morale won't go up, and especially I think it'll even go down because she's an Amazon, so I don't think she really likes guys. She prefers women. So that is still a test to see if the Amazon merc will go down if you're with a group of guys or not. So this sort of will make you think exactly how to make it. So this is what I would presume you could say the most effective, you can say, start team for the actual normal difficulty. So I'll stick it here, Spider and Steroid. So whenever I can reconnect to the thing, it'll allow me to add it. So Spider and Steroid is for the normal team. Again, you don't have those likes, and as explained before, it is pretty complex to get that combination that you do require. So let's go to the keyboard layout. Now the keyboard layout, of course, you can download it with the link. You can download it offline and you can print it out for yourself. Here are, of course, all the standard keyboards that you do have in the game, and of course additional ones that have been added, and some that aren't even contained in the actual manual when you do buy the actual physical game itself. So there's a lot of useful keys here, especially the keep firing till they're dead. You have a lot of useful keys here that haven't been mentioned. So you have the mini map starting works and the shift to right click, and there's a lot of useful things here that I would suggest you guys take a look at it. And this is pretty much in terms of the actual guide itself. As I mentioned before, you're going to have the offline version, which is a good general consensus, and the online version, probably the stats will be updated in accordance to the game for a certain period of time, and then it usually sort of mellows out, and that's the way it ends. And that's pretty much it for the actual official AMG Jagged Alliance CrossFire guide that I have created for you guys. I'm very happy that you guys decided to join in. I hope this pretty much breaks down everything you need. You can always catch me on my YouTube. Most of you are messaging me on my YouTube channel and commentating, and if not, because there are a lot of comments, and if not, just send me an email to my email box, and I will know that you are one of the guide members, and I will try to respond to it as soon as possible. So this is it, and as always, happy gaming. Do give it a thumbs up, that being on the video or on the actual other videos that you see this guide drilling to, and take care. Happy gaming. Bye.